you close. Ooh, closer than before. And no one knows. That I want you close. I'm not overthinking feelings.
So, honey, the couples advance. After the first day, we realized, did we realize, this was more than just a vision.
That's right. A vision is kind of passive, right?
Yeah.
You have a vision of what's going to happen, but you really don't walk away with, what am I supposed to do with this vision?
Exactly. So, we're advancing our marriage to the next level and advancing our relationship with God with the intention of advancing the kingdom.
So, we're going to call this a couples advance then.
We're going to call this a couples advance.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes, it does.
As we look at what we're doing together as a couple this week during this retreat, we want to hit the ground running when we get home to pursue and follow the calling that God has on our lives in many different areas.
Yes, we do. So, day one.
Day one. Well, you know what? First, we established a baseline of what's going on with us. Of course, we started with prayer.
Yes, we did. That is a must. You start everything with a prayer.
And you know what? That, if nothing else, that invites the Holy Spirit to be a part of what you're doing.
Yes, it does.
And when we talk about having a three-stranded conversation, that means that it's more than just my wife and I dialoguing.
It is.
That means we're bringing God into this, and we're wrapping ourselves and braiding ourselves with His Spirit such that we can get out of this what we're supposed to.
Exactly. So also, we discussed the areas where our relationship needed work.
Ooh, yeah, so that kind of made day one a little rough.
It did.
It's a process of unpacking your limitations, unpacking your shortcomings in complete humility with your wife.
Yes.
Your husband in your case.
Yes.
And so whenever we look at that, so many times we want to be this beacon of amazingness to our spouse. And when we are faced with having to unpack our shortcomings, and we do it in a safe place, we do this on this retreat, we realize that the other one is really not going to attack us for these shortcomings. In fact, if anything, they're going to be grateful that you had the heart to bring them to the table.
Yes, it's a must. So also, remember what brought us together and what we love about each other today.
We've looked at other vision retreat processes.
We have.
And they will encourage you to list the things that you love about each other. As we look at some of the things that we recommend to pre-marrieds and during their premarital training, we recommend that they write down the things, the reasons why they're choosing to get married, and especially
in the first place,
and especially if those are God-driven things.
They should be God-driven things.
Because later on in your marriage, you can go back and reflect on those things to find inspiration and regain a deeper love that you might have once had, recognizing, wow, God brought us together for that.
Yes.
So this is a perfect opportunity to reflect on those things and bring them back into your present-day life.
Also, we cover things that we need to do individually to work on. Well.
See, that kind of exercise is self-focused. I don't go into this saying, well, honey, you really need to work on not leaving your sweaty tube socks on the kitchen table after you go playing football.
Really, that wouldn't be something I would do, but that would be something more or less you might do.
Oh, well, I just watch football. I don't play it.
Yeah, with me either.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, so it would be easy for you to stop doing that then.
Yeah, it would be.
It would actually be impossible for you to stop because you're really not doing it now.
In the first place. Right.
So as I look at things that I need to work on, I'm not looking at things that you need to work on. That's your job.
It is.
That's your job to bring your shortcomings to the table. It's my job to bring mine. And as we bring them in humility, we have a much better chance of working through them.
Say that word again. We have to be humble to each other and show grace.
And what's so tough in that is that whenever you bring your shortcomings to the table and your spouse agrees, oh yeah, you need to work on that. Okay, honey, I brought it to the table because I know that I need to work.
This is true. This is true. Also, what about accountability partners?
Ooh. So as I decided I'm going to work on, say, making more vegetarian meals for you.
Oh, that sounds wonderful and yummy.
Yeah, well, as I said, I'm going to do that.
Oh, you know what? I actually bought a cookbook so that you can do it now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So as I decided I'm going to do that, I'm going to start doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You are naturally my best accountability partner. If I go 2 months down the road and you say, hey, Rob, I got you that cookbook. You said you were going to do it at our retreat. And it's not that you're hounding on me. It's that you're keeping me accountable to what I say I'm going to do.
Exactly.
Another thing, if I say, hey, this fall, I am going to not just watch my favorite team, but I'm going to get a full, complete college football package so I can keep tabs on every team in real time. If we get into October and I haven't done that yet, you could be my accountability partner to say, you haven't done this.
Yes, because you need that for your self-care.
It's just an example.
I know.
So as we look at being each other's accountability partners, it's not a matter of you pointing out to me or me pointing out to you, you're not living up to what you said. It's a matter of, honey, I'm just giving you a general reminder. You asked me to keep you accountable to doing these things, and here's an area that you want to do, and I've noticed that you've had trouble keeping up with that.
That's it.
We should both be able to receive that with humility and react in loving kindness. So, we also covered things that we need to work on as a couple.
Yes, we did.
So, for example, family matters.
Yes.
Relationship issues.
Oh, yeah.
Finances.
Oh, you said the F word.
Well, yeah, I did. So many people have so many issues with finances, and it really doesn't matter what your income is.
Yeah.
They've said that whenever you have a higher income, you've got more financial problems. It's funny how that works. You just take on more and more. You have these plans that you want to do, and sometimes your finances cannot keep up with those plans and those goals.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're still running away from your past. So as we unpack those things, we realize, well, if we work together on those issues, we have a much better shot at addressing them than if we were still trying to work them in our individual corners of the marriage.
This is true. So also we closed out discussing how we can honor each other.
Ooh, that's a big one. I mean, a lot of couples lose focus of that, right? It's so very common for a man to go meet up with his buds and start bashing his wife, but she's not even there to say, well, this is why I did that. And how many times do women do that with their men? Women tend to want to treat their men as if they're children, and sometimes we do act like children, I'll admit.
And you have to think about it. Most women that you see that tend to do that is because they have children. And it's sometimes more than sometimes. It's usually all the time that a woman, she should turn off the mothering when she's talking to her husband. But however, a lot of times that don't happen. And I can definitely say I have been one of those because I definitely have children. So, yeah.
So as we look at honoring each other, we do look at honoring each other while we're in each other's presence, but also when we're separate. And being mindful of constantly, continuously honoring our spouse.
This is true.
So we had some challenges today, didn't we?
Oh, yes, we did.
First of all, these discussions can go very quickly until you get into a discussion about what exactly it is you're supposed to discuss. For example, we had a prolonged discussion about the difference between a topic and a conflict.
Yeah.
You know, in this first day, we really just started to list some topics. And then when we get to the section about what conflicts do we have, we can't just say, well, the conflict is microwave. Well, what about the microwave? Is it because the microwave is left dirty? Is it because the microwave is broken and someone needs to replace it? Is it because someone keeps unsetting the clock on the microwave and it needs to be set? I mean, what about the microwave? What is the conflict? What kind of unrest is it causing in the marriage? So you can't just give a topic.
No.
You have to unpack what the conflict is so each person knows what there is to work on.
This is true. So what about digging deep for, the mutual understanding?
Whew. So whenever we want to unpack a shortcoming or a conflict, it'd be easy to just list it and acknowledge that it's listed and move on.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't do you a whole lot of good. This retreat is about getting into the gritty parts, the nooks and crannies of your marriage, so you can walk away better. It's more than just acknowledging something, it's working on something.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
And so whenever you look at digging deeper for understanding, again, at this stage, on this day, we are not trying to resolve things, but we do need to discuss them enough to understand what we're talking about.
This is true.
Again, if I really don't like your sweaty gym socks on the table, we could list it as just gym socks. Well, what about gym socks? Gym socks on the table? Well, okay, the reason why I don't like them on the table is because as I am preparing you gourmet vegetarian meals, the aroma of your sweaty football gym socks just doesn't go with the meal.
Okay.
So if we unpack that conflict, now we start to understand I'm not just complaining and nagging you about it. There is a reason that this is causing a conflict, and me having to continually every day remind you about those gym socks.
Mm-hmm. So what about lessons we've learned?
Well, there are a few.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, do not rush. Whenever you put time constraints on what you're doing, you can blow past understanding just to check off a box or get through a section.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to just plow through a section because, again, just listing and acknowledging something does not help you work on something.
And you don't rush because you don't want to miss something.
You don't want to miss something. You want to get to a common level of understanding.
Now, the other question, don't resolve? I thought we do need to resolve.
We'll take care of that later on in the retreat.
Okay.
Right now, if we tried to resolve everything on day one, we'd have like a 72-hour day. It was already a long day, honey.
Yes, it was.
So we'll work on resolutions later, and we'll do it in an air that is more uplifting. Because at this point, you're kind of tearing each other down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not tearing you down, you're not tearing me down. I'm actually tearing myself down.
Yeah.
You're tearing yourself down.
Yeah.
And so if we try to get into the resolution, now it just starts piling insult upon injury. Well, you should do this and you should do that. No. Let's just get things on the table for now so we know what we need to work on.
Understood. Okay, so why not? You said don't drink. Come on.
Well, it is said that alcoholic beverages, what's another name for alcoholic beverages?
Spirits?
Spirits, exactly. So the reason why they're referred to as spirits is because there's more to the spirit world than just the Holy Spirit.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want the Holy Spirit to speak to you, then you best not imbibe and bring other spirits into that conversation.
Understood.
That's for one. Another thing is, these are long days.
Yes, they are.
And as such, you're going to need energy.
Oh, yes.
And, alcohol does tend to, it may make you a little loopy if you have enough, but it's going to make you a little dull in your thought processes. if you're going to drink coffee.
Drink lots and lots of coffee.
Coffee. Oh, yeah. Today we walked, we took a 20-minute walk across town to get a cup of coffee and a 20-minute walk back. Now, after all that, I'm not even sure that we needed the coffee to wake up because the walk itself was kind of energizing. But the thing is, we did need that energy. We did need that boost. There's going to be points in time in this process where you just need to get up and take a break. You're mentally drained.
Oh yeah, we definitely would recommend breaks in the midst of doing all this, because if you just plow through it again, don't want to rush, don't want to resolve, drink coffee, just coffee, because again, you don't want the crazy, you don't want the extra spirits. We need Holy Spirit.
Right.
So, also, we need to minimize distractions.
Oh, yeah, this is not a vacation.
No.
It's great to get away from home with my honey.
Oh, yes.
But the reality is, we are not sightseeing. We are not trying to take in the local events or attractions. No. These are full days of getting down and dirty into the deep corners of our marriage.
Yes.
And as we do this, we shouldn't be thinking, hey, we signed up for this tour that starts at 2 p.m. We gotta go. We gotta rush through this so we can get there. No.
Not the purpose of this retreat.
Not at all. You will have other opportunities like that in your marriage. Perhaps, hopefully, even in the same year.
Yeah.
But as you do this retreat, just clear the day. That's the reason why we get away.
Yeah.
Is so our other distractions in life do not catch up with us and tear us away from this ever important task that we have.
I mean, very important task. So, also, we need to leave time to spend in quiet meditation and praying, to listen for the Holy Spirit to tell us to move forward.
And you know what? Honestly, we failed to do that today. Now, after day 2, between day 2 and day 3, it's going to be super important to do that.
It is.
So, lesson learned here is that, again, it's an intense day. You're going to be tired. You got to leave some time to unpack and unwind and pray and meditate on what God has to say to you. That's going to be key. And I also have to say this, honey. If you've got issues with yourself, you know how some people, they can't let a ringing phone go unanswered? A crying baby has to be picked up?
Yeah.
Well, these days, there's another form of that. And that is a text message cannot go unanswered.
The new thing.
Yes, someone just texted me, I gotta respond. Now, in today's culture, that is somewhat expected. You send someone a text, you expect them to respond right away. But the reality is, you have committed to not have distractions. Now, if you're the type of person who can see, hey, a text message has come in and I don't have to respond to that right away, sure, keep your phone with you. But if you know that whenever you get a message, it doesn't matter who it's from, you're going to want to respond. Do yourself and your spouse a favor and just leave the phone in the room.
Yeah.
You can check your messages later.
Yeah.
There's going to be plenty of time to communicate with your friends, your family, your coworkers when the retreat is done.
This is true.
The one exception I would say to that is that, if you're leaving your kids with somebody, of course, you want to be responsible and be able to respond if an emergency comes up.
If you have children, yes.
But for the most part, except for those cases, nothing is that urgent to disrupt what you're calling, to find out what you're calling on your marriage is.
This is true.
Well, honey, this was a long day.
Yes.
I am ready to just kind of hang it up and
unwind,
and hopefully get some prayer and meditation in before I doze off.
Same here.
All right then. Well, until next time, guys.
Be blessed.
Be blessed. Love y'all.
Love you.